Hello, this is Dr. Making Stuff, and I'm going to be taking the Hello Greedo 30-day challenge. What this basically is that for the next 30 days, I'm going to be answering 30 questions having to deal with Star Wars until the release of The Last Jedi. Now, of course, 11 days have already passed. I just wanted to answer all of the questions myself because it seems like a really good way to make a lot of video responses to things. And my favorite moments are different than a lot of his favorite moments. We both got into Star Wars at different times, so a lot of our answers differ. And I really like Hello Greedo, so this is in no way me trying to rip off his videos, but I just wanted to take the 30-day Star Wars Last Jedi challenge as well. So let's get started. Let's get answering some questions. So, because it's 11 days into the challenge, and the idea is that I answer a question a day, but I'm already far behind, so I can't do the 30-day Star Wars challenge. I'm actually going to catch up by doing a few questions in a row. There'll be 4 questions summarized in this video, so I'll give 2 to 3 minutes to each question, and I'll just answer them as they come. Okay, so the first question is, what is my personal favorite Star Wars memory? And this one's pretty easy for me. I started watching Star Wars in the 90s, and I don't remember particularly what year or how old I was, but I remember the very first scene I saw, and I remember where I saw it, and I remember the impact that it immediately left on me. Like, it just exploded my frickin' mind. It was in the middle of Empire Strikes Back. I think the first scene I saw was when Lando came in to invite them to dinner or whatever, and then there's the surprise with Darth Vader, and Han goes to shoot at Darth, and then they end up having the carbonite scene with Darth Vader, and then Luke trying to raid Cloud City to get back Leia and Han and Chewie. The frickin' Empire duel, and Luke losing his hand, and Darth Vader's his dad, and I didn't know who any of these characters were. I'm in the middle of the second movie, and I remember thinking, I've got to watch everything Star Wars related, bar none. This is the coolest shit. The sword fighting was great. I had watched Highlander, I had watched Mortal Kombat, so I'd seen 90s movies that had combat in them, that were more hokey, magical stuff. But Jesus, Star Wars had this level of magic and realism, characters using the environment. I didn't know how smart it was when I saw it, but I knew it was the smartest fight scene that I ever saw. Lighting and stage production, and Cloud City was so cool, and I just love the Empire duel, and to have that be my first introduction to Star Wars. That's usually the part that everybody remembers because it blew their mind because, they didn't know that Luke was Darth Vader's son. I didn't even know who Luke Skywalker was. So I got used to the idea of him as the hero. Everybody wants this guy. He's the guy who's the trap is set up for. He's the guy trying to save his friends. And then, like, oh shit, man, your dad is like this really impressive evil dude. Like, what the fuck? Like, it just. And the Force wasn't explained to me at all. I had no prep for lightsabers in the Force. It's just like, 1 minute there's no lightsabers in the Force, and 1 minute, boom, lightsabers, the Force, surprise, twists. His hand gets chopped off, and he's dangling, and people are communicating using telekinesis, and I just was like, I need to watch every moment of all of this. Give it all to me, please. And that's how I've been about Star Wars ever since. And that's my personal favorite Star Wars moment because it's the moment that got me into the franchise. And I wouldn't be into Star Wars probably otherwise. I would have been introduced with Phantom Menace, and who wants that? Really? Except for people who are huge fans of Phantom Menace. I'm not offended if you are, by the way. That's great for you, but I'm happy that my introduction to Star Wars was the latter half of the best Star Wars film ever made, Empire Strikes Back. So now we're on to question number 2. Who is your favorite Star Wars character of all time? This one is really fucking hard, right? Because each Star Wars character is interconnected in such a way that they improve all of the other characters. So your favorite character either has to be the one that you feel personally improves the story the most, as in their particular cog of the machine is the part of the story that you find to be the most important, or you have to judge it based off of the overall impact that they have throughout the entire narrative. It's like that scene in Kill Bill where he's like, if you're going to compare Hattori Hanzo swords, you must compare the Hattori Hanzo sword to every sword that ever was or wasn't made by Hattori Hanzo. Well, similarly, if you're going to compare Star Wars characters from the original trilogy, then you have to compare every single Star Wars character against every single other Star Wars character to come out with an answer that even verges on having some kind of significance. But I don't have no time for that. So my favorite character is fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi because he says cool shit. He says cool shit and he introduces us to the idea of Jedi. Like, I didn't know what the fuck a Jedi was until Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I didn't know what the Force was until Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he explains that shit, and he gives off a very powerful presence, and his portrayal by Alec Guinness is simply outstanding. Obi-Wan is great. Obi-Wan is awesome, and he's my favorite character. I like his lightsaber fight. I know a lot of people hate his lightsaber fight, but I feel like it teaches us the important difference between the Jedi and the Sith. So that we know, one side's afraid to die. One side's so afraid to die that it uses these machines that rob one of their essence to keep them alive. And the other side just doesn't give a flying fuck because they can be wizard ghosts afterwards. Because they're that in tune with nature that nature doesn't mind them coming back to speak to the living. Obi-Wan's just incredibly wise. And that wisdom isn't this high, preachy wisdom. Like, he'll cut a guy's hand off in the middle of a bar. He'll hire a pirate to get him out of Tatooine. Like, he's got this grounded, realistic wisdom. He's like the best mixture of street smart and book smart. He's got these wizard smarts, but he also knows how to do a bar fight, how to convince people to do what he wants them to do, how to story tell. He's the best balance of a wise person that you can possibly get. You get the sense that Yoda is probably not too street smart, that he's very wise in a spiritual sense, but like I don't know how Yoda would be on the mean streets of Tatooine, how he would be in a bar fight. But Obi-Wan can hang though. Like he knows what he's doing in the world and in his practice of the Force. And so I just gotta say, Obi-Wan is, I feel like, the most well-rounded character, and I think in the original trilogy, he's probably one of the most important characters. And then in the prequels, he's the best character in Revenge of the Sith, bar none. He's the most well-developed character. He's the best acted character in Revenge of the Sith. And he gets the lion's share of the good fight scenes. So I feel like Obi-Wan Kenobi is a good pick for my favorite Star Wars character. Question number 3. Favorite original trilogy movie? I feel like A New Hope is a great beginning to a great trilogy, and Return of the Jedi is a rocky end, but still fitting, of the overall trilogy. I mean, there's things I don't like about Return of the Jedi, but it's good. Possibly even still great within the context of the trilogy that it's in. If I watched Return of the Jedi completely separately from the rest of the trilogy, I don't think I would like it quite as much. So I'm gonna say that my favorite Star Wars movie of the original trilogy, though, is Empire Strikes Back. It was the first Star Wars movie I watched. It's still the best Star Wars movie I've watched. It's just so good, and I mean, everything from the beginning with Hoth to the end with the Empire duel is just so amazing, and it just doesn't let up. It's a beat a second. It's just so good. It's an action-packed thrill ride. You get to learn all the deep stuff about the Force from Yoda in that one. It's it's really our proper introduction to Darth Vader. We met the dude before, but we didn't really get to know him until Empire Strikes Back, and it's just perfect. Empire Strikes Back is just a perfect Star Wars film. And while I don't want to say there'll never be another Star Wars film as good as Empire, I don't think for me personally there will ever be a Star Wars film with as great of an impact as Empire Strikes Back. Question number 4. Which is my favorite prequel trilogy movie? My favorite prequel trilogy movie is Revenge of the Sith. Because it's the end. No, but seriously, the whole story is supposed to be about the transformation of Anakin to Darth Vader, and that transformation, while it began in Phantom Menace, ends in Revenge of the Sith, and that's the actual transformation of Anakin Skywalker into Darth Vader. Because it completes what the prequels set out to do, and because it actually has a tone befitting the movie's dark. And it's supposed to be dark. It's a movie about Anakin Skywalker being turned into more machine now than man, being turned into a monster, a tool of evil. It's supposed to be a dark fucking movie. All of these prequels should have been really dark fucking film. And I don't just mean dark as in gritty, as in bloody. I mean they should have been thematically dark. They should have had weighty themes mentally about what it means to be free, what it means to be a human, what it means to be a cyborg, what it means to be, someone who has the Force. Does that make you more than human if you're supernaturally talented with the Force? The politics of democracy versus empires and tyrants. This should have had some weighty themes to it, but it's all bogged down by sloppy execution. And the least bad of the prequels is Revenge of the Sith. That's not to say it's not bad. That's just to say it is the least bad. But my favorite scenes in prequel trilogy movies are I like the desert fight scene, Phantom Menace, and I like the Jango Obi-Wan fight scene in Camino. And that's basically all that the prequels have to offer in terms of interesting shit happening. So that's me on the prequels. Revenge of the Sith is the best of the 3 prequels. And sadly, that is the end of the questions for now. I can't tackle all of these questions at one time to catch up, so I'm thinking I'm going to do them 4 at a time until I'm caught up to day 12, and then after that I'll start making singular videos every day to do the 30-day challenge. If you enjoyed it, like, comment, and subscribe, of course. And as always, this is Dr. Makin' Stuff signing out. I look forward to seeing you again in the next one. And until then, may the Force be with you.